Okay, where's that? Where's that page? Let's just, yeah. Oh, okay, it's right here. Only 2 pages over. I was gonna have to go deep searching for it. So. Okay, let me get the other page. Red T. U.S. Department of, not that one. It would be um so MYA. It's right here. Hello, hi everybody. Hello. Hi. Why would you ask such a question? It's not very. It's not very polite. It's not very polite. That is none of your business. None of your motherfucking business. That is for who it's for. Fuck. The fucking name. The fucking name. That's from you, not from the chat. Well, I guess you are considered part of the chat, but chat as a whole, but not your individual asking that question, which, yeah, only prevert those ask that question. The whole chat has not been willing to know that. The whole chat, even all kind of crazy ass people coming in here saying all kind of different stuff. Okay, is y'all ready for tonight? Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys for the likes. Thank you. Might just have to use that. What was that? Coconut? Coconut always do me right. I mean, can older women make it clap? Because you know what I'm saying? I've heard that, a lot of younger men or whatever, they like older women. for convenience. I think that's immature, honestly. I'll put it like that. Thank you. I've been good. Good to see you. How are you doing today? Thank you for asking. I've just been really relaxing today. Trying to relax. Relax these nerves, relax this body, relax this body yaddy. What you staring at? I'm looking at the chat. Jackson Huff. Trying to see shit. Thank you. You good? Good. Good to know, honey. Thank you for tapping in. Thank y'all for tapping in. What's up, Mai? You ain't responded yet, Mai. Asking all them questions. Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions? Oh Lord. There's always somebody coming here just to, just to test the energy. But what I want to talk about tonight is the tribe that they try to hide, in which I just mentioned that in the last read, right? The, the native. Bluetooth device is ready to pair. I gotta turn that thing off because it ain't gonna shut up. Maybe I can get it to shut up. Hold on. The Native American tribe they try to hide, which is one of the tribes that I talked about concurrently, and it has to do with the MYA, the A Million Years Ago, the so-called asteroid that destroyed the dinosaurs. So this is how they try to cover shit up. Doesn't surprise me though. Think we deserve it right. Ain't worry. I made in my life. How many ways to see? Ladies supposed tonight. Okay, good. Hi, hello. How you doing? You can't say hi twice when I'm speaking. But okay. And y'all must be patient when y'all come to this channel, right? Simply because it'll show 0, it'll show 1, 2, 3, 4, and sometimes it don't even show the number of people that's actually in here. So on your end and my end, we must be patient and take that into consideration as well, okay? Yep, I'm great. How are you? How are you, 1, 2, 3? It's connected successfully. Good. Excuse me. So we're gonna get to that. We're gonna also talk about a little bit about this J Rock situation, the gay stripper that was having sex with the this pastor and exposed him. Um, Not sure why he exposed him, but I'm pretty sure. I think it's because he had a wife. He ended up finding out this man's a whole pastor and he got a wife and a whole family. So we're gonna be talking about this gay stripper. And why is it important? Because I in particular remember this stripper's name, J Rock, being brought up in a reading. on Spiritual Sages uh, tarot channel. She has Spiritual Sag and Sag and Sun. Those she has two different channels. I haven't watched her in a minute, so yeah. But she real good. She helped me through a lot as well, right? So, and coincidentally, she was talking about a pastor. And when I say everybody T be out in these spiritual streets, people don't understand. God don't never go on vacation. And these spirits and these souls be telling on people and what they doing behind closed doors. Lord, have mercy. So we're gonna talk about that after we talk about this though. This MYA right here. This MA, yeah, MYA a million years ago. 66 MYA and an asteroid hit Mexico. KT extinction asteroid question mark. Um, supposedly killed all the dinosaurs. I just love how I just thank you guys for the like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Y'all have any questions? So this is when they started erasing true Christ consciousness, pretty much, and I was fucking dead ass right. Ah, true Christ consciousness, ISIS, and what's this? I don't know. Okay, so and they said this was existing in the 1600s, right? 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 10, which will be 2020, 2020. So that's 4 years, 400 years. So we're on track, okay? As far as revealing the truth and what actually happened. I'm going to play the video for y'all and how I found this today. I tell y'all all the time, when you ask the right question, God will show you the answer. When you do what God tell you to do, say if I hadn't did those readings, I wouldn't have been able to reiterate on this subject right here to pull this all together. And I was like, damn it, it makes so much sense. So let me get to that page. I just wrote down. Let me go to the YouTube channel. Is the first one? Yeah, I want to watch the first video. I didn't really watch the second video, but I'm going to reference that video for you guys so you guys can go watch it if you want to. And I'm going to also save it to my Kitty Blast list. Oh, no. So y'all can take a screenshot. Y'all can write it down, take a picture. I don't give a fuck what you do or do not do. It's up to you. Okay, going to that page. YouTuber the Yorubos. The Yorubos is spelled of course, the THE space YARBROS. That is their YouTube channel. Three months ago, 5 better country for melanated Americans. The was it from 8 months ago or 3 years ago? Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I gotta find it down. Let me see. I wrote down the title too of the. Hold on. Ooh, go back. Okay, it's subscribed. What's the name of the? It says the Black American Tribe. They tried to hide. Okay. The Black American Tribe, they tried to hide. The Yarbos, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. It's YARBOSBROS YouTube channel. They have 2.5 million subscribers. I'll tell you in a second when they made this video. This thing is slow. But it's okay.
What if I told you that there are a group of black Indians that created the largest haven in the U.S.?
I just want to say, they made this channel. Of course, I didn't, right? Why my hair don't hang on this up? You better go and lay your hair down. A year ago. So they made this video March 3rd of 2024. Give him another like.
Or escaped slaves.
Y'all imagine me, a class full of children, right? At the time when I was younger. We were all in the 5th grade. I was in the 5th grade. I think we was like, yeah, we was like in the 5th grade, 4th to 5th grade. I had this teacher named Miss Peterson. And they made her read this slavery book to us. And we was hot. And she didn't just say, she didn't say the N word, like saying it as a sentence. She said it as the word. She said nigger. And every time she would say it, we were like, oh, like seriously? Like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, that is so disrespectful. That's so offensive. Why are you doing it? Like, bro, we made her cry so many times. I don't know, but it's just like it's kind of crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, I ain't walk around saying Caucasian slurs. You know what I mean? So it's just like, why would they let teachers or have teachers do this in class? And I'm not sure how that played out on a melanated teacher's end, but I would have liked to know at that particular time and point how this actually went down in another class because there ain't no way. You know what I mean? Some of this stuff is just disrespectful. We should not have to subjected to torment, but excuse their language. This is not me. This is their video, okay?
In the 1700s, what if I told you? What if I told you that there was a group of Black Indians that led the largest slavery in U.S. history? What if I told you that there were a group of blacks in the United States that forced their own emancipation before the Civil War? What if I told you? What if I told you that there were a group of Black Indians that led a mass exodus along the Trail of Tears and then right out of the United States? What if I told you? What if I told you? What if I told you that this is the true story of the Black Seminoles, and you likely never heard it before?
Of the Black Seminoles. So this story is about the Black Seminoles, okay? And the Seminoles weren't just in, see, they said, oh, well, they were in America, but they didn't say it was South America, or how they led a lot of the people, and they were talking about they forced their own emancipation, meaning they freed themselves, right? So this is a group of people that were supposed to be enslaved, freed them damn selves simply because of the art of all the bullshit that was going on. Let's just say all the slavery that was going on at the time. This comes from the Trail of Tears from Oklahoma through Texas, all the way down to South America into Mexico. And this is how, Hispanics and melanated people are, like I said, we tighter than what anybody even knows, like for real, for real. Like the ignorance in the younger generation, or just from people that just do not know and don't do their own research and know that somewhere in their bloodline there is a melanated grandmother, mother, whatever, right? This is factual information. They just did not want this to be known. And this is why they said, shh, on the hush hush. When you cross the border and we let you in, don't mess with those Black people over there. And they tell us to Africans, they tell us to Asians, they tell us to, Arabs, they tell us to Hispanics. This is why, shh, you know what I mean? It's a part of the trap. This is a part of a spiritual contract of you don't fuck with them and we help you type shit. But now they want to cause us all this division because they haven't taught true history, and they're going to use that to their advantage. And they don't want people to speak out on this simply because they are playing know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Okay?
I never learned about them. They were never in my history books. This is a story about betrayal, distrust, backstabbing, and about people that have been, for some reason, lost to history. This is about the Black Seminoles, Black Indians, and their long, remarkable journey to freedom.
To do this no more, Abigail, I won't.
What do you mean, Abraham? You're scaring me.
We've been slaves long enough now. I won't spend another day or two with these crackers.
Escape? Where did we go? You know they'll kill us.
Florida. Florida. I heard him say it's free there. There's a chance, Abigail.
Florida? It's so far, Abraham. It's dangerous.
I'll kill anybody that gets in our way. Staying here is death. We deserve better. You deserve better. You deserve a life free of these crackers.
Live free or die trying.
Live free, die trying.
Them, along with several other enslaved Africans, made their way down to Spanish Florida. They fought slavers, bounty hunters, and many were recaptured and lost their lives along the way. But finally, several made it to freedom, at least for a while, in the swamplands of Spanish Florida.
During the same time period, there were several civilized indigenous populations scattered across these lands.
The term civilized tribes was applied to the major Native American tribes that took the bad medicine of the white man. They were classified as civilized because they had adopted the attributes of European culture, becoming Christians, sending their children off to re-education institutions, market participation, and as civilized because they
What they do today, you're marked as civilized if you do what they say, not as they do, or whatever. Pretty much. It says Native American children were forced to into boarding schools, which we know that because there was a certain time and place where at school the teachers were allowed to whoop the children. I had a black teacher that tried. She wore these big old long nails and she had this snake and she was like, she threatened me. And I was like, I looked at her like, bitch, I wish you would put your hands on me. I'll turn loose on your ass. And I was in kindergarten and she's up there threatening me, bitch. This ain't back in the day. I don't know what you trying, but you ain't my mommy. You better not
had
put your hands
adopted
on
the
me.
attributes of European culture, becoming Christians, sending their children off to re-education institutions, market participation, intermarriage with white Americans, and, wait for it, chattel slavery practices, including the purchase of enslaved Africans. Little did they know that the cotton reservations that they had would become cotton plantations after they were stolen and seized by the same white people who were in the
And this is what I just knew. I felt it in my soul. Why these people up here talking about, oh, that was so long ago. That was so long ago. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. It really was not. It really was not. It's been less than 100 years ago, less than about damn near 50 years ago, that segregation was still a thing, yo. And then, shit, fucking tell the truth, there's still people that are enslaved down in fucking Alabama in the deep, deep South. They still got slaves. And then, shit. Hell, I just had a lady not too long ago try to talk to me like I was motherfucking gonna be like, yes, a massa. Not knowing I came from the tribe that ran, that they got, no, hell to no. That's why that girl shit, don't call me girl. You're not my homegirl. You're not my friend. Don't be girling me. I don't take that as a light term. That's disrespectful as fuck to me. Call me by my name, but don't call me at all.
to a town called Mosquis, and this is another town here in Mexico. But this town is the closest town we can get to Nacimientos, which is the town that a tribe, actually the Seminoles from the USA, kind of came over here.
From the USA. The Black Seminoles. Seminoles. The Black Seminoles went to Mexico.
See refuge during times of slavery. They're warrior people. They are fierce people. There's some survivors. Not a whole lot of them there. So we're hoping that we can make some contact.
We've been exploring stories of how like Africans made it here, and it's a variety of ways. But this community that we're going to is a completely different story of history of how they made it here.
We're just praying for some favor as we go so we can show you guys and so we can learn about the real deal here in Mexico and black people and our nation here. See y'all there.
Yes, my name is Wendy Goodcup. I am a Black Seminole, and more specifically, I'm a descendant of the Seminole Negro Indian Scouts, which were the group of men that joined the military and fought for the military in the U.S. from 1870 to 1914. So I grew up in Brackettville around that history.
It's a commercial. So it's really cool. They go into details of the tribes and, the actual town.
Found out about the Black Underground Railroad that led into Mexico. We had never heard about that.
Yeah, not many people have.
But whoa, like, what you know about this Underground Railroad? What's going on? Black indigenous people moving to Mexico. What is this?
I know, it's a lot. That's what I always tell you, it's a lot of story. The way that our elders began the story was that in the late 1600s, around 1680s into the early 1690s, there were what would become known as the Gullahs, but they were enslaved Africans living in the Low Country.
The Gullahs. This is where the Nickelodeon, Gullah Island, the Gullah people. This is where that comes from. And I might lay on this side a little bit more than my other side. No, that's not true. It's not really shaking it. Or it's probably just the way I'm positioned. I don't know. But Gullah Island, I used to love watching Gullah Island.
Who took it upon themselves to seek their own freedom. So instead of going north, they went south into Florida because Florida at that time was a Spanish territory, so it was not part of the formation of the U.S. at that point. It was owned by the Spanish.
In 1687, 8 men, 2 women, and a nursing child escaped from Carolina to Spanish St. Augustine and requested baptism into the true faith. Florida's governor sheltered the runaways out of Christian obligation and refused to return them when an agent from Carolina came to reclaim them. The Slaves' Telegraph quickly reported this outcome, and soon other runaways began arriving in St. Augustine. Florida officials repeatedly solicited Spain for guidance, and finally, on November 7, 1693, Charles II issued a royal proclamation, giving liberty to all, the men as well as the women, so that by their example and by my liberty, others would do the same.
One day was established freedom seekers who were making their way down the Carolina to escape into slavery. If they made it down to Spanish Florida, they could live free.
And once they got there, they found that there were already people there who were living free. There were formerly enslaved Africans, there were free blacks who were living on the land.
The Nero's town on the Swanee River. Here on the Apalachicola River, even before the one here at Prospect Bluff, you had Solomon Nero Cheesy Bluff. They established a separate one where there were several hundred maroon fighters. You had many settlements of free blacks all through Florida, particularly, late 1700s, early 1800s.
There were also Native Americans. At the same time that was happening, there was the group of Creeks who lived just north of Florida. And because of knowledge differences, they splintered into the Upper Creeks and Lower Creeks. And the Upper Creeks decided that they wanted to break away and go down into Florida to get away from the Lower Creeks who were taking on more European ways of life. And one of those was to begin chattel slavery. That's where the idea of the word Seminole comes from, is that some linguists believe that it is a Creek word or Muskogee word, and it's not Seminole or Seminole. They believe it means runaway because these Creeks believe that part of their group was running away. And so it's also interesting that it fits for what would become the Black Seminoles because they were essentially running away as well. They formed their own villages but were interacting with the Seminoles, so they would become known as the Black Seminoles.
The African and indigenous people lived and worked closely together. And in time, they came to view themselves as a part of the same loosely organized tribe, cultivating a mutual respect of each other's cultures. The Africans adopted a lot of the Indian customs, and the Indians adopted African agriculture, music, and folklore. And they lived this way for over 100 years, raising generations of children in freedom. As Florida continued to be a haven for Black freedom, this didn't set too well with antebellum Georgia. They shared a border, and contentions were high. At this point, there was a lot of retaliation going on. The U.S. military launched raids, tried to steal slaves, steal cattle, and encroach on the Spanish land.
The United States felt that the nuisance was the community served as something like a beacon of freedom for slaves from Georgia and the Carolinas or even the Creek Nation to slip away from bondage and come down here seeking freedom in Florida.
In the spring of 1818, the U.S. government launched their attack.
As soon as the U.S. military was dispatched at the orders of Andrew $20 Jackson, this marked the beginning of the First Seminole War.
The battle fight is reported by the U.S. military that people referred to as black warriors held off the U.S. troops.
The Seminoles, known as the Red Sticks in that area, and the Black Seminoles held their ground and held up their contract with the Spanish to defend the border.
They ultimately fell back, and the village was destroyed, fell back to what is the Manitou River, Tampa Bay, Angola.
At the conclusion of the First
Tampa Bay,
Seminole
Angola.
War, the Spanish sold Florida to the Americans for $5 million. This drove the Seminoles and the First Seminole War. The Spanish sold Florida to the Americans for $5 million. This drove the Seminoles and the Black Seminoles deeper into Central Florida, deeper into the Everglades. It was here that the two bands grew closer, and it was also here that birthed two legendary leaders.
And see, there are the facts of what I've stated before. The people that helped enslave melanated people were Hispanics. It was just like people enslaving people, but like, as they say, the white man was winning because everybody was coming to him saying, well, you know, let's make a deal so we can take over this land and let's share this land, knowing damn well it wasn't theirs. So they're telling half-truths about what actually happened and what is actually to happen, but we always know, like, they're not going to fully tell the truth. Like, people can change, but are they giving birth and making way for change and healing in proper settings and opportunities to heal? And y'all remember, I was told when my journey just first started, I was told not to go to Florida. I was told not to go to Florida. And y'all have to remember, just a couple of years ago, I went into Mexico, and I don't know why. I was like, God, why you want me to go to Mexico? Now I see why. It's being shown, it's being told to me in real time. Why? And I was like, All of these truths and all of these hidden memories and all to keep one suppressed. But remember, when one is suppressed, they all are suppressed. And people that know true history understand what don't need to be explained. You know what I mean? And for those who are willing to be patient, to learn and absorb the wisdom and the knowledge and share that, regardless of the consequences, There ain't nothing they can fucking do. They can only do so much. But for people to really understand true history and how it happened, you must go back and understand. You gotta know where to go, where you came from to know where you need to go as far as healing.
Osceola for the Seminoles and Horse, aka Abraham, to lead the Black Seminoles.
So the First Seminole War began between 1860 and 1870 when General Andrew Jackson went in and started the war.
I read somewhere that he was trying to recapture Black.
Yeah.
He's the same chicken shit ass that sent his sons into war while he fled to Texas. I just covered this in my shorts. Y'all go check out my shorts, check out the community board, check out all the 2000 videos we just hit last week, technically. Okay. It's all connected. It's weird and kind of crazy how it's all connected, but at the end of the day, it makes sense. Too much sense at that. When I went to Mexico, it's like you can see. Stop it. Please make me mad. It makes sense how why God was directing me to go down to Mexico. It would all make sense eventually. And what's crazy is, and I was wondering why they were treating me a certain way, because they embarrassed me. They really embarrassed me, and they treated me different. And I was like, what the fuck? What is going on? Why am I being treated this way? But to understand that there still are melanated people that live there in Mexico, it makes sense. But it's like, I don't know. It didn't make sense either at the same time. It's just like, they chose to do what they wanted to do at that point. And they were like, all you needed was your birth certificate. Well, you motherfuckers didn't give me a chance to show you my goddamn birth certificate. Fucking scaring the shit out of me. What the fuck you think?
Wait, they weren't even forming a state in this period. They were never even.
They were generations removed. Yeah, they were generations removed. And Andrew Jackson, he was the only president who ever ran on the idea of committing genocide. So he promised that he would wipe out, all Native Americans and return formerly enslaved Africans to their owners.
Interesting. Very interesting. He's the only one that wanted to create genocide. Now we have this reoccurrence of the same thing happening present day. Let's put my hair.
They know to be the poor white man's ship with the big. Andrew $20 Jackson's POTUS number 7.
$20
This
Jackson.
wealthy Tennessee is known to be the poor white man.
Oh, that's the motherfucker on the $20 bill. I didn't even know. I was looking at his hair too. I was like, just the other day, I was really checking that $20 bill out. I think I was checking that $1 bill out. Looking at the $20 bill, I'm like, looking at how the hair is wavy. I haven't seen the dump truck picture yet of him with waves. I bet you that's something hilarious, but it is what it is.
With a base known for their rights and the Trump presidency full scandal, he would be best known for his deep hatred of Black people and Indians, promising to deal with the band structure of the government and deal with the nagging Indian problem holding the country back.
Indian problem. This was a name
Indian
given
problem.
to indigenous Americans just living their life on their land.
Minding their
Land
motherfucking
that
business.
the colonial settlers wanted. They wanted to take their land, their joy, their happiness, but especially that land.
There's almost a mythology about this, that somehow when the pilgrims arrived, they were dragging the land behind them. There was no land brought here. The land here was Native nations. And this is what the United States needed. It's what it wanted. They wanted all of it. They wanted everything.
Between
Greed.
1830 and 1850, about 100
Zealous. Why are you so zealous and greedy? Eyes bigger than your stomach.
thousand Native Americans were evicted at gunpoint from their ancestral.
Wait, what? How many?
Between 1830 and 1850,
1830
about
and 1850.
100,000 Native Americans were evicted at gunpoint from their ancestral homelands. They were escorted by the United States military to the designated Indian Territory in present-day Oklahoma. The relocation, known as the Trail of Tears, was the result of genocidal legislation called the Indian Removal Act of 1830, signed into law by President Andrew Jackson. Hey, what's up, fam? What we got?
So, the genocide of the indigenous of America and the slaves that they brought from Africa. I mean, like I said, it's the system in which we should be uproaring about, not each other. The lack of knowledge will lead you in conflict with yourself and others. Facts. Facts, facts, facts.
Enjoying this video, and if you are, please consider sharing this video. We found so many lies and unearthed so many interesting things that we never knew. We're hoping.
Just consider joining our Patreon.
30 clips from the second we'll start shooting.
You're joining our Patreon. Where do you get a window seat into our
Okay, this is their Patreon. Patreon, wait. Yeah, patreon.com/the Yarbros is spelled YARBROS. That is their Patreon channel.
thousands of stories about the diaspora?
All right, so back to the video.
Diaspora.
The first Civil War happens, and then by 1830 clips from the second one starts. So there is this.
The Second War started in 1835. 848, it looked like. And in my notes, let's see, that's 1818, 1819, 1870, 1830. We went over this story about the Second War.
And about 20 years between, within this time, the Seminoles and Black Seminoles had only gotten closer. the Black Seminoles are highly militarized. And so when the war does begin, they're out there on the front line, so much so that General Jessup says, you know, this is not
Front
an
line.
Indian war, this is a Negro war. And they were at the front lines.
General Jessup wasn't wrong. It was a black war. It was a Negro war. It was the largest Negro uprising the United States had ever seen. And it's in no history books anywhere. More than 300 enslaved individuals rose up against their plantations and came to join arms with the Black Seminoles to fight against the United States of America and for freedom. John Horse and his compatriots gathered the troops together. They went around to the local plantations all throughout Florida, rallying up the enslaved and telling them that they can get their freedom. And they listened. At this call, they all came to fight against the United States government. They fought tooth and nail with everything that they had and launched a 7-year war that cost the United States government more than they had ever spent and more than they would spend ever into the Vietnam War. They called.
Now, didn't we just talk about that? The debt that they collected and had after the fucking war. We did just talk about that. Where's it at? Tell me, lady, suffering. Love me or hate me, love me or hate me, love me or hate me. I can no longer do one thing and not believe so. Where's that? Where's that? I just looked at that page. Just looked at it. We just went over that page. Here it is. Is this it? No, this is not it. We just went over it. Where is it? Oscartown in 1912. Oh, here it is. The U.S. Department of Treasury is when they were in debt after war. Now we're figuring out, now we're putting it together. Why they were in debt and why they built this government department after the war. And how pretty much these motherfuckers, now that I'm thinking about it, these motherfuckers had war with us and got us paying the fucking debt. And this is how ignorant motherfuckers is. And they're like, yeah, let's have the previous slaves of their parents and their parents' parents. Let's have them pay our taxes and we don't hardly pay any taxes. Let's put them in debt again and have them pay off their own war, which we're still paying off. But yet, we're deceitful, we're lying, and this is why I understand why some people steal and do what they gotta do to make ends meet. Is understandable. The government system is fucked up. The government system is fucked up. It's the government, it's not us. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. It's facts. And this is some sick shit. This is the cycle of insanity in which we are facing and which we all need to learn and understand out of any and all races how to beat this fucking system right here.
More casualties and more damage than any other slave rebellion in U.S. history. So I haven't heard about it.
The reason that they fought so hard and were known for fighting was because for the Seminoles, they would just die. But for the Black Seminoles, they would be returned to slavery. So that was what they were fighting for, and yet And so the thing was that they didn't just kill, they killed twice. You know, they wanted to make sure that their enemies were dead.
John Morris, being the excellent strategist and leader that he was, told the United States government that he would lay down his arms if and only if they would give them papers of emancipation for each and every one of his soldiers. And they agreed to this. So they put down their arms, and the Black Seminoles began their trek on the Trail of Tears,
Thomas Jefferson.
modern day Oklahoma.
$20 Jefferson. Or was it Jackson? Jefferson. Boy, scandalous. They so scandalous. Trifling.
From the other indigenous people that were on that trail. I believe that these Africans were looking forward to getting to that reserved place in modern day Oklahoma. I believe they saw it as a new start and a new life that awaited them. But when they got there, they found old demons. They found broken promises. And they found that Uncle Sam is the same very uncle that he's always.
Old demons.
But of course, everything changed by the time they got to Oklahoma.
This reservation wasn't their happily ever after, nor was it the end of their story. At this reservation, the U.S. Attorney General, Nathan Clifford, announced that the U.S. government didn't even have the authority to grant their freedom in the first place. In other words, their emancipation was essentially revoked.
Yeah, we have made it out here to the revolters of the revolt.
We are in el nacimiento de los negros.
Now, out here, these people are the people that never bow down. You guys, the history dates way back. From North Carolina down to Florida, from Florida to Oklahoma, and from Oklahoma.
I gotta write this down. Yeah, I do have to write that down. 'Cause
Now, out here, these people are the people that never bow down. You guys, the history dates way back. From North Carolina down to Florida, from Florida to Oklahoma, and from Oklahoma, walked all the way into Mexico, a 6-month hike.
And made it here to freedom in 1850.
The story goes a
1850.
little something like this.
And for the Black Seminoles, they were threatened with being captured and turned to slavery because
Yeah, because the Department of Treasury wasn't. It was made in 1789. They cut that giant tree down before they started their war. That's what this is.
In 1850.
The story planted down to Florida, from Florida to Oklahoma, and from Oklahoma, walked all the way to Mexico, a 6-month hike.
Wow.
Made it here
And
to
6
freedom
months.
in 1850.
The story goes a little something like this.
and for the Black Seminoles, they were threatened with being captured and turned to slavery because it was outlaw territory. And so there were slave catchers who were right.
Anyone with African features were being kidnapped and sold off in the night.
So pretty quickly, John Crow started being out.
A group of Black Seminoles led by the Wildcats, who was like the chief of the Seminoles, and John Morris, who was essentially the chief of the Black Seminoles, made their way down to Mexico. Mexico had abolished slavery, and it was a dream of both John Morris and Wildcat to make it to freedom, to make it here to Mexico. They got here in 1850, and settled in this town in the state of Coahuila, called El Nacimiento de los Negros.
My name is Corina Torralba Harrington. I was born in Nacimiento, Coahuila, Mexico, a Comunidad de los Mas Cobos, and I migrated to the United States when I was about 7 years old.
When they made it to Mexico, it was the land of your country. They were greeted with open arms. Because Mexico had a problem. They had raiding parties. The Comanche and Apache tribe were raiding all along that Mexican border. Also, the Americans were encroaching, as they do, all along that border. So Mexico received them with open arms, as they did for every black, self-emancipating individual. But for these people, they gave arms, they gave weapons and land in the state of Coahuila, in a little city called Nacimiento. The black Seminoles that settled in Mexico, particularly the ones that settled here in Nacimiento, were granted certain rights back in the 1850s for a particular set of reasons. They received land, they received supports from the government, and they received autonomy, which allowed them the ability to govern their own communities, have their own type of laws, as long as they assured the government that they would protect the border. At that time, the Apache tribes, the Comanche tribes were raiding all along the border, and the United States was pretty much encroaching in the area, trying to get more and more land. And these guys settled here and ruthlessly defended the border. There are many recorded exploits of them chasing down Apache, Comanche, Americans, Texas Rangers. Their reputation did not even compare to what they really were. In fact, they defended that border so fiercely that after the Emancipation Proclamation, the United States military came knocking.
In 1870, the United States Army sent a message to the Black Seminoles chief, John Horse, inviting him to enlist with them to become Indian Scouts and help them fight the hostile Native Americans. They accepted because they were promised repatriation, but they also believed that they would be granted land, food, provisions, and reimbursements for traveling costs. But there's one thing about promises made to the Black Seminoles from.
What do you say about 40 acres and a mule? This is that part about 40 acres and a mule that we did not get. It just made me think about my 22 acres. Some people say they would choose love over hate, but do you know what true love is? True love has a lot of emotion with it. It comes with hate. It comes with pain. It comes with joy. It comes with turmoil. It comes with transformation. It comes with a lot of different emotions. It comes with truth, trust. Love is trust, and trust is love. And without trust, you can't love. 40 acres and a mule.
The U.S. government. Not a single one was ever kept.
You know, the amazing thing to me is that Mexico is really the only country or government that honored their promise. So out of the the Spanish, the Americans, the Mexicans were the only ones.
Despite this, the Black Seminoles fought fiercely alongside the Buffalo Soldiers, and not a single member of the Black Seminole Indian Scouts was killed or seriously injured, despite all of their fights with hostile Native Americans. They never failed a mission, and several members received the highest honor in the military. After their services were no longer needed, they were killed for from which they had served, and eventually settled in Brackenville, Texas. So walking around the streets of Nacimiento de los Negros, it's a very small community, a very tight-knit community, and very quiet, but walking through the streets, you see signs of their history.
Show you the signs of their history.
It's just really cool being here. This area it's Afro. This area is distinctly different. Again, we had to travel a long way from a very small town just to get here. It's remote, and you know why it's remote. Have you been back lately at all?
I'm gonna look this up on the live because I want to know how close or how far would I have had to go. And that's why I complained about the borders too. I'm like, there was no fucking borders before. Like the borders wasn't like they are now. There wasn't no borders like that.
I go back every Juneteenth because of our Juneteenth celebration there. It is different. I was very surprised to when I found out that we actually celebrate Juneteenth down there. When I started learning all the history, I was like, well, why do we celebrate it? You know, our people freed themselves. You know, they liberated themselves. It was that important to them. They decided to have that celebration. You know, we've always known that celebration as El Baile de los Negros, el Día de Negro, hoy 19. So
That's beautiful. So it's in solidarity almost.
yes, exactly. I also have a Casa de la Cultura there, and I'm wearing my shirt today. And I go back for that a lot too, and other projects that I'm working on there.
I never knew about any Black Seminoles coming over to Mexico. I never knew about it until maybe last year.
So our history starts in Africa. Our people were the people that would rather die than be enslaved. To just tell, you know, everything that our people did, because I just want those kids to know who our people were, the warriors that they were. They were brave, what they did. I want them to know what kind of people are their people, they come from.
So many people believe it was only one way, and that's not the way. That's not even the real way it was. We didn't just sit down and say, we didn't just come over here and say, okay, we're just gonna be slaves. Yeah, that's what we'll do. You know? No, that hard. So that is the main reason I'm telling you so people can get the real information, the honest information.
And we have people that we know that are getting involved, you know, especially here in the United States, just being native, you know, we're native, we're not Black. So all I have to say to those people is, okay, you know, that's your story. This is my story. You know, if you're just native, then you're not part of the Black Seminoles. That's not something that I'm making up. We cannot tell our story and take away our Blackness, our Africanness, our Negro, you know, whatever it is that you want to call yourself, we cannot tell our story taking that away.
Throughout this video, we have been diving into the cultural heritage and influences of.
Why? Because they were created from the slave masters that raped the indigenous people. and the people that know and have learned the true history, not from what American social studies skills and history books have taught. Actual, they call it Black history, melanated history, indigenous history.
Of the Black Muskokas or the Black Seminoles. And it's so interesting because it's this mix of like American indigenous, it's a mix of African, and now that they've been settled here in Mexico for a while, it's a mix of Mexican also. It's really interesting to dive into and reminds me of diving into my own culture and history. We recently took DNA tests with my heritage to kind of dive in and find out what we're made of.
So that's the end of that video. I think I want to kind of show y'all what this man was touching on as far as his understanding. Which I found it just, see both sides. But you can definitely see he didn't understand who is the true enemy. What is the true enemy? Let me see. Is it on this? Yeah, it's on this one. Oh, Jesus. I think if this is not the video, it's his channel for sure. Oh no. This other guy. I didn't save this YouTube channel to the video to my playlist, to my KD Blast 2025 list. But this is, I don't know, did he get the video too? Interesting. I'm going to see. When I met you, I know what I said. Yeah, it's on this phone, so I can't pull it up right now. But I'm gonna save it, and I guess we'll talk about that tomorrow, because just so y'all can get the perspective of his misunderstanding and how we all can misunderstand the truth from the lies we have been told, the half truths, and all this other confusion, and why it's so dangerous, and why these people are very patient and strategic in how and what they went about doing the enslavement of so many people, in the system. So that's it for tonight. Oh wait, hold on. I said I was gonna look it up. I'm not gonna like this phone for that reason. Black Seminoles who escaped United States. This mother. Ooh, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. You gonna show me the map? They try to be funny about Dora Explorer. These motherfuckers. These some torturous ass, vindictive bastards. I want to see. Okay, back up. I probably could have got there. I don't know. So I don't know that side of the map very good. I probably could have got there though. Because there's a few borders going through Mexico. And if you don't have certain things like, you know, like your car being legit or whatever, that's a ridiculous ass bullshit idea that these people cooked up. But it's just such a fucking place. It's fucking crazy to me. It says it's 7 hours and 45. Ooh, shut up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Ooh. No one see nobody. I mean nobody. Always so sure. Just don't stay here. Oh, it's something me free. So I could imagine. I don't know. I'll have to do my research on it. But I call myself trying to get to the pyramids, right? Because there's pyramids down in Mexico. Brazil, Honduras, Guatemala. So It will usually show a picture for the location. So I think that you would have to at least pass maybe three, at least two borders to get to the pyramids. So wait. Yeah, Dr. Sadie was telling it all. That's why they unalived him. Like, that's fucking crazy for all this shit to still come out. Because it's all of our business to even freaking know this, like, for real. But I said that too. We should be speaking Spanish. So that's going more by the beach. El Salvador. Mm, that's one. I think there was two. Mm, I needed that. And there's a Scientology building down in Mexico. Hmm. There's a Scientology in Mexico. There's one in California. There's one in Georgia. There's one in New York. I've talked about this in previous videos. That was one of the other things that stood out to me. Is it the same one? Wait, it's not the same one. Okay. Let me talk to you another day. Got time for that. So y'all go do your own research, but this is some good insight as to what confirmation. Try to play with this confirmation. That's the shit on my incarceration. I'm done. I'm too done with these fake eggs, motherfuckers. They are cooked. So please do your research to help them get cooked even more. And we can't be, yeah, we can't be fighting against each other. This is absurd. This shit is crazy. Shit. How the fuck we gonna look at each other that is the problem? We ain't even caused the problem. We just part of the fucking solution. And they trying to say, oh, we the problem. No more lies, only truth. Let it bump and see on the microphone. One yo thing, be great. Y'all be great. Never give up, man. I needed this reprieve. This got me feeling a bit more better. Just, well, if we need to go somewhere now, we know where to go. We're gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. Be great. Never give up. All right.